Are you in the market for a mini skid steer? Maybe you're curious about this mini skid steer right here. Maybe you just want to know about the capabilities of this machine. Well, in this video, we'll talk a little bit about this machine. We'll talk about what its capabilities are, and I'll do a little bit of demonstrating on what this machine can do. Real quick, before we unload this machine, I just want you to note that it's loaded on this trailer backwards. These machines are very tippy when they come to the end of the trailer and transition onto the ramp. So having the operator here, when it transitions forward, the operator is still in the safest position. When you're coming up onto this trailer, going to level, the operator also seems to be in the safest position. The trailer that you see here is at 100% capacity. So this trailer is rated for 3,000 pounds. The trailer has a rough tear weight of 980 pounds, leaving you about 2,000 pounds of carrying capacity. This machine here is about 2,100 pounds, so it is slightly over. But I see many people hauling these machines on smaller trailers. If you're going to be transporting this more than one time, say you have property or you have friends that may be using it, I would invest in a nice trailer like you see here. Real quick, we'll talk about where I have this thing strapped down. You can see that I strapped down over those rear axle tubes. Those are a nice low placement and they're not going to move. It's a great spot to strap on the rear of this machine. Maybe from the factory, I'm guessing they were using these holes here. If this machine gets to rocking on that trailer, your straps could come loose. On the front of it here, they do have nice eyelets for you to run your straps through. That's another great spot. Next, we'll get this machine unloaded and we can talk a little bit more about it. Hey everyone, let's talk about this unit here a little bit. This is the AGT CRT23, not to be confused with some of the others on the market. Pay attention to the track setup. This unit comes with a 23 horsepower gas Ratto engine. This unit also has a triple hydraulic pump, meaning that it does have one pump dedicated to continuous flow hydraulic accessories. This unit weighs roughly 2,100 pounds. This unit has a lifting capacity of 480 pounds. Will it lift more than that? Yes. Will it lift more than that safely at full height? I'm not sure. Speaking of full height, this machine will lift to a maximum of 73 inches with your bucket flat, so measuring from the flat edge of your bucket to the ground. This machine has an overall width of 40.5 inches from outside of track to outside of track. You can see that this machine also comes with a couple of LED lights. It does have a locking hood. Next, we'll talk about the controls on this unit. This machine does have the less desired controls, so meaning that all of its controls are isolated on separate sticks. These are not joysticks that do multiple functions. So talking about these real quick, starting from the far left over here, this one does your lift arms up and down. The next one here does your track drive. This one here is your continuous flow hydraulics. So it does have a detent to keep this in position for whichever way you want the hydraulics to be rotating. This one here is spring back to center. So this one would be more for like a grapple. This one over here is more for your brush cutters. Next we have the right side track drive, and then we've got our bucket, curl, and dump. Taking a step back, we can see that we do have the emergency stop over here. We have a fuel gauge that is not accurate. We have an oil temp gauge for your hydraulic fluid. We've got an hours meter here, and then we've got a couple of switches, horn, hydraulic cooler fan, lights, a couple of power ports. We've got a choke, and then a throttle. The throttle is a push button pull to throttle, or you can actually dial this your throttle to whatever RPMs you're looking for. We do have a standard key switch here, and then a couple of warning labels. We also have this master power switch here, and then down here we have a locking gas cap. Kind of gimmicky, but it's there. So the step on the rear does fold up, so we can actually pull that down, open it up. So there's that. Overall, pretty nice machine. Yeah, so next we'll open up the hood and take a look there. All right, everyone, so real quick. Here you can see this is where your hydraulic functions are for, your simple operations like a grapple for opening and closing. This side over here is for your continuous flow functions. Underneath the hood here, you can see a really nice hydraulic cooler. On the back side of this cooler, you can see a nice fan. Seems to work all right. Some people are doing modifications to this already though and putting a stronger fan on it. Looking down in the engine bay here, you have your hydraulic tank right here. You got your battery, you got your triple stack hydraulic pumps, your oil filters right here. Over here, up there is where your oil fill is, that yellow cap. You see you can access the valves. Some of the people from the factory were saying that this piece of your exhaust was coming off and venting inside of this area. So that is something to look for right away. You can also see down there, you got your track drive motors and stuff. So it's pretty accessible if there is any issues on this machine. Yeah. Next, we'll get this thing closed up and we'll go out and see what it can do. All right, YouTube, real quick. This will not be a max capacity of this unit, but we will throw some of these bricks that I have here in the bucket. We'll lift it up, lower it back down, just see how the unit handles it. With that, I'll start getting these loaded. All right, so we've got these bricks loaded up. We've got 7 of the heavier ones. 3 of them are not quite as heavy. The heavier ones are probably 30 plus pounds. The lighter ones are probably 20. So at that, we've got 210, probably 270 pounds here. So we'll get this thing fired up, and we'll get it lifted and see how it does. All right, so we have this at max height. This was no problem for this unit. Maybe what I'll do real quick is I'll try to lift on it, see what it does. I have a feeling though nothing will happen. Yep, trying to lift on this machine, it's very well planted. I don't want to really hang on the bucket or anything to try to show you any more than I need to. So we'll get it lowered back down and get these bricks off and move on to the next thing. All right, get these unloaded. All right, YouTube, I'll give you a quick look at moving a little bit of dirt with this machine. This hill I did put here about 6 years ago. There was some miscellaneous pieces of wood in there. There's also some rocks and stuff like that. So, we'll do our best, see what we can get done. I may have to work around some of the obstacles that are in there, but hopefully most of it's broke down enough. So with that, we'll jump on this machine and we'll kind of scoop some dirt and move it around. All right, YouTube. So I hope what you saw today kind of helps you out a little bit. This machine does have a pitfall to it. It's this right here. In fact, this bucket is only 31.5 inches wide, while our tracks are 40.5 inches wide. This means that if you're taking a scoop out of that hill, you're actually taking a narrower scoop than what your machine will fit into. So your tracks want to ride up. So you making a nice level pad is kind of difficult. Um, Another issue that many people see with this machine is now these handles up here. So because your track is isolated from your lift, you've got to try to do two operations with one hand on both sides of this unit. So that does make it a little bit difficult when you're pulling into a pile and trying to lift at the same time and keep moving. Another issue that this machine does have is that the spool valves on these machines, for whatever reason, they are very cheap, and you can hear them laboring in one direction. So this machine tends to labor going forward and when the lift arms are coming down. So in the near future, we're going to have to swap these out probably to the joysticks. Other than that, probably have a couple of videos coming up. So one of them will be general maintenance on this machine. We may do another video on a track day, so going through this tracks, fixing all the issues that come with that. I do have a few other attachments that we can display. Those are nice to have. Yeah, so this is the first YouTube video of the series, and I guess my first one really in general. So if you like what you saw, feel free to like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'll take any feedback that you guys have, and if you want to see something else, please let me know. So with that said, hope you guys have a great day.